Right, everybody, we've got an exciting episode lined up today, and it's exciting because we've got five of the best pitmasters in the region. We've got a couple from Australia, and we've got Carl, Stephen, and Fitzy with us today. And so we're going to do a rapid fire answer today. I know that a lot of guys listening, all 52 of our subscribers are listening, are interested in a wide variety of both cooking styles and cooking appliances. So we're going to just try and knock out today as many questions as we possibly can. And so I'm just going to ask, starting with, I guess, we have no way, guys, at home of actually going in any specific order. So I'm going to have to, it's going to get a little bit repetitive, but I'm going to just have to ask each person the same question until we find a bit of a rhythm. So we'll start with Grant Fitzgerald. Can you just, I'm Grant Fitzgerald and I'm cooking with what team, and approximately how long have you been cooking low and slow? So just those, your name, your team, and how long have you been cooking low and slow? Grant.
So I've been, my team is More Better Barbecue.
Great team.
And I've been cooking low and slow continually for about 4 years now.
Nice. Okay. JG?
Yo. Smoke-faced grillers, and probably been doing low and slow for about 6 years, I reckon now.
Okay, nice. Stephen?
Steve Cook from the Cook Cartel. I've been cooking for, I don't know, maybe 12 months, 18 months max.
Nice.
So pretty fresh.
And for those listening at home, think, what can a guy learn in 12 months? Well, you're about to hear, because this guy has gone from, he's gone off the deep end. And James?
Yeah, James Wilson from Smoke-faced Grillers, been cooking low and slow for about 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Carl?
The slow joint, member of the slow joint. I've been low and slow since 17. So
now, is that age 17 or 2017? Okay, guys, we're going to cover a range of subjects here, but all of it barbecue. And we're just going to try and keep the answers as concise as possible. And we're going to start basically in the same order. So, Grant, you're going to be in the hot shoe because you won't have time to think about your answers. Or maybe I will. I'll answer first, and then that'll give you time to think about the answer. But we'll go Grant, JG, Steve, James, and then finish with Carl, and then we'll go on to the next question. So, I'm Jared, J-Mac Barbecue, and I've been cooking low and slow for about 11 years. The next question is, and my team is, my team I'm currently competing in is More Better Barbecue, with Grant Fitzgerald, Fitzy there. Okay, so first question is, and I'm just talking about the barbecue life, direct or indirect? Personally, right now, I'm indirect. Love that direct heat. And Grant?
Direct heat.
Okay. Justin?
Yeah, a bit of both, but I'd probably say direct heat as well at the moment.
Steve?
Indirect, definitely.
Cool. James?
Probably more direct, given that we're on gateways at the moment, and also just the cooking at home I'm doing is more direct.
Yeah, cool. And Carl?
Indirect at the moment. At the moment, having to play with direct. So.
Having a bit of a play. And Justin, you said direct without sort of hesitation. What's the advantage for you cooking direct?
Oh, hot and fast, baby. He punched those big cuts out in no time. Been doing a lot of direct with the steaks lately. Normally I reverse sear, but lately I've just been going direct on the grill grates. Getting some good results out of that.
And so why aren't you just, you've built your own pit, why aren't you just cooking hot and fast on your offset?
Oh, I do when I'm cooking a lot of meat.
Okay, so is it more a convenience thing? It's easier to heat up a gateway than it is a 1 ton offset?
You know, it's like family life with a couple of kids running around. You're trying to, you still want to eat that long slow meat, so you're trying to punch it out a lot quicker, whatever's easier. Offset wise, I'd probably use one of my offset plates in the Weber, which I've actually got some beef ribs cooking at the moment while we're having a chat. Yeah, the drum just fires up real quick and easy and punches it out.
Right, Steve. Now you're the newest to barbecue here. Why do you prefer? Have you done much direct cooking? Why do you prefer offset? Low and
Yeah,
slow?
no, absolutely. I think it's just a personal preference, really. I've been running a lot of more direct heat out of the Pro Qs and things like that. But I think typically when I'm cooking, it's a little bit of a zen time for me, bro. So the longer and the slower, and sitting out on the back deck having some beers, and if it's going to be 6 hours, then I'm happy with that rather than a 2-hour break from the kids and everything else.
For sure. And just recognising that you can cook hot and fast on an offset Fitzy. What would you say, hot and fast or low and slow?
I blend a fair bit, to be fair. It's Garrett, my son.
Hey, Garrett.
You
You blend a bit, so sometimes you go low and slow on the kettle, sometimes you go hot and fast on the offset?
all the time, depending what I'm cooking and
Right.
what I'm trialing out, to be fair.
Okay. And Justin?
No.
Hot and fast or low and slow?
Hot and fast. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the big outfit that I've built, 600 kilo pit, I'll still get that cranking around 300, 320 for hot and fast, even in that.
Okay, cool. Steve?
Yeah, so with that, again, bro, I can run my offset. I've had it pumped up to 450, bro. And yeah, again, it's like a 500 kilos, 6 mil all steel beast. But yeah, again, it depends on the circumstances. If I need to catch up, then I'll wind it up. If I got plenty of time on my hands, I'll keep it nice and low and keep drinking beers.
Okay, cool. James?
Yeah, probably more hot and fast for us. We've been cooking that way for a while. So I cook that way at home because that's just kind of where we get our practice. We don't really have that much time to catch up as a team and cook that way. So a lot of it is individual. And yeah, probably just, I don't know, a lot of the things that I cook at home now are really simple as well. So things like chicken, whole chicken or chicken wings, which you're cooking at, 380, 400 to get that nice crispy skin. So that's probably more where I'm at.
Nice.
Yeah.
Carl?
Well, I've been running low and slow, but of late I've just been playing around with pork ribs and trying to crank them out faster so that I can feed the family. And so I've been running, playing around, hanging them in the Pro Q, playing around on the kettle and different options. And seeing how fast I can crank those out and get them out. So still run stretch sort of low and slow. Chuck a timer in there and just let it tick over for the afternoon and see what happens. But yeah, predominantly now hot and fast.
Okay, cool. And for anyone who's listened to any episode, I'm currently hot and fast, mostly because the Smoke Face guys got me cooking hot and fast. And seeing guys like Sterling Smith, who we interviewed, and you can check out that episode. Just why take 10 hours to do something that can done in 5 or whatever. Now, temperatures. Originally, when I got into barbecuing 10 years ago, 225 was the go-to temperature. Then it was like people pushing 250, 275, 300, 350 now. So I've been through the full spectrum. I probably cook commercially at 275, but if we're at comps, we'll have the thing going at 350 just because we're always opening the door and closing the door. The pit never really has time to get up to 350. It probably sits somewhere about 320. And we always seem to be running behind schedule at comps, so we're always playing catch up. But Grant, what's your go-to temperature right now when you're cooking?
I'm playing between 300 and 320.
Cool.
So I've lifted it up from about 275 in the past sort of 12 months.
Cool, living dangerously. And JG?
Yeah, man, back when we started comp, John and I would always bounce off each other talking about stuff because there wasn't much info in Australia, so we're feeding off America. Kicked it off at 225 for quite a while and bumped it up to 275. Noticed we had a bit more time for a few more bevies doing that, so that was sweet. And then we just cranked it to 300, pushed to 350, but we, as Joe would say, we flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Sort of scorched a couple of things. So, about 320 is probably the sweet spot for us about now.
Yeah, I think 350's right on the edge.
Yeah.
If you're cooking there, you got to be really watching it. And
You got to be
Steve,
watching it.
what's your go-to temperature, buddy, where you're sitting right now?
Pretty much everything's running at about 300.
I've lost you.
If I'm behind schedule, we'll push 325. But I try and sit at 300 pretty much all day.
Yeah, cool. James?
I don't focus too much on temperature. Obviously, 300's the kind of go-to, but I'm not concerned if I'm anywhere between 280 and 320. So sometimes it'll fluctuate, and the gateways move quickly, and you have the the thing open, and it'll fluctuate, and it'll be high for a while, and you're just like, that's fine, let it ride. And as long as it's somewhere in there, then it doesn't bother me too much.
Nice. Carl?
Hey, J-Rod.
Probably the same as James. Actually, just
The beefies.
don't try and dial to a temperature. Sort of let the barbecue meet its median, and but I probably sit around that 300, 310 ish.
It's funny because everyone, even including Steve, who's the newest barbecuer, is all running at what I call the hotter end, right? So guys who are listening at home, if you're cooking at that 220, you
Stop doing that.
well,
Get with the program.
look, there's a place for it, and I think you can taste the difference on a really long cook. But it's kind of like the marginal benefit is so minimum. Okay, guys. Sorry, James.
I was just going to say, I think it depends as well, as long as how you plan on resting your meat as well. So I would dare say at 225, you probably, it's advantageous to rest your meat in an hour or so. Whereas if we're cooking hot and fast, the meat kind of needs time to relax and catch up. So, we'll rest for 2 or 3 hours easy, and I find that even a 3-hour rest on a brisket will go well if you're cooking at 300.
Which is funny because I say I cook hot and fast because I don't want to waste time, but ultimately it still takes 8 hours. You just have 3 hours of it in a Canberra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I can't burn stuff in a Canberra.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about appliances. Can we talk about going in reverse this time, Carl? What's your favourite appliance? For me right now, I'm just grilling a lot. So I mean, probably just a bit of chain and a hook is my favorite right now, and a bit of the pagoda, or the corner of a gazebo. That's probably what I'm loving the most right now. Clothesline cooking. Carl, your favorite appliance?
Still loving my PK. Running the PK just about every day. I've gone back to the Weber kettle, doing a little bit on that.
Nice.
And been sitting around.
You got to choose one, Carl.
Oh, sorry. PK is my go-to.
And I saw for the SCA series now, you can actually win a PK now, which is awesome. So shout out to SCA New Zealand and to Chris and them for giving a
hasty bake. Sorry. Also looking at bringing a SCA hasty bake and see if we can get that in the series.
Mate, I tell you what, if you get one of those hasty bakes, I'll be in and I'll be chasing the points because they look awesome. James, favorite appliance?
Probably for versatility, I probably can't go past a Weber.
Weber kettle.
Weber kettle, yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's Steve. Favorite appliance right now, right here today?
Right now, Pro Q XL.
Versatility, loving it.
Yeah, bro. Bullet smoker.
Justin.
Yo, for me, it'd have to be a Weber kettle, man. Yeah, probably the 22, but use quite a variety of them. Although I did just pick up a PK, so we'll see.
See how your Alzheimer's goes. Nice. Grant, I suspect it's, what is it, Grant? Come on.
Look, for versatility, I always play with the Weber. I've got a couple of them. But my toy really is the Octopit because I'm still learning it.
Nice. I will say that Fitzy just bought a brand new Weber because we had a belly cook-off and he felt like he was being disadvantaged, so he bought a brand new Weber. He's kind of falling into my trap of just buying your way to winning. That's all good. That's all good. Okay, next question. Here we go. okay, so we talked about the favorite appliance. So now, what's your go-to fuel? Like, forget about sponsorship agreements. What's your go-to fuel? For me, I love lump charcoal. I just love lump charcoal. It just burns so nicely. You get such a great flavor off it, and I could just burn pallet loads of it. So, Grant, what do you?
Lump as well.
Lump. Yeah.
Lump as well. But I do use beads or something like that if I want it nice and hot quickly.
Right. So use like a briquette if you're going for a really high temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually find if you smash up the because we use a particularly large brand of charcoal, and if you smash it up and make it smaller, you can get a lot more heat out of it. But JG, what's your favorite type of fuel?
Favorite would have to be lump, man. The flavor you get off it's just second to none.
Yeah, lump's the best. Yeah. Okay, Steve.
Lump all day, bro.
Right. We'll find a common theme here. Is anyone gonna, James? Are you gonna break out of this lump?
No, not really. I probably find myself using charcoal lump more often than anything else. I do like coconut blues. They're probably my second favorite. So
just one, James.
Lump.
I got to ask right now, Steve, are you sponsored by a fuel?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Who is it?
As we're running with heat beads, as
okay,
well as
so we're all heat beads.
as well as Urban Lumberjack.
Okay, so Urban Lumberjack. Okay, so we're all heat beads users. So we can. I guess I didn't realise that when we started the conversation, but heat beads are a great fuel. So Carl, what's your favourite go-to fuel?
Yeah, when I first bought my ProQ stretch, hunted out different suppliers of charcoal. I was always going to go charcoal lump, and that's my go-to, charcoal lump. And I'd have to agree. Now that the coconut's available, getting some of those coconut briquettes in there just to pump up some of the heat. But definitely running lump, charcoal, and as you know, heat beads. But
yeah,
I look at quite a lot of different brands, and that's been the best that I've run, especially in stretch anyway. So.
Yeah, I think you're really talking out your ass about different flavors. You get a very slight variance, and obviously some people don't cook with clean fires, and I think that generates a lot of bad hype around a particular brand or whatever. And some of the products, some of the producers do have plastic and whatnot in them, so some of them you do steer away with. But I tell you what, I do love my lump charcoal. So, and it seems like we all tend to agree with that. It's easy to love when you've got a really good product. Okay, so we've talked about that. So now, what's your favorite, like currently, and this changes over time, obviously. What's your current favorite cut to cook? Like, forget about comps. Just if you're cooking, if I was to come over, to dinner or whatever, what would you cook? Your favorite cut? Now, for me, I got to be honest, I just love a good steak. Currently, I'm sitting on skirt steak. Has to be where my favorite piece of meat is right now. If I could cook anything for you guys, it would be skirt steak. So, Fitzy?
The sheer volume at steak. It's like I cook regularly steak, so I enjoy doing that. But for a barbecue perspective, do love working on a brisket.
Nice. I actually just want to supplement my answer and say a good pork chop too. You can't go past a good pork chop on the ceramic Kamado cooker. JG, Justin.
If I've got a group of people coming around, 100% be brisket all day long. Absolutely love a brisket. But as you said, if you're coming around, I'm not cooking you a brisket because I know you cook enough at the shop. So I'll probably cook a couple of nice scotches, I reckon.
But I'm not a hater. If someone cooked me a brisket, I'd be all over it. As long as I don't have to cook it, I'm good.
Yeah, no. Scotch.
Scotchy's good. Scotchy's good. Steve?
Thick cut, reverse said Scotch, definitely.
Scotchy. Yeah, right. And it's easy to know why for guys listening because it's badass steak. James?
Yeah, probably a Scotch as well, but for convenience, a whole chicken, either whole or spatchcock. just because it's easy to cook. You can get one out in under an hour. You can play with it in terms of methods. You can brine, or you get different flavors. And I just like, I guess, kind of the subtleness of the flavor. But so if it's during the day or all day, Scotch. But if it's at night time and I've got some friends over, then a whole chicken tends to be the way I go.
You know, I love a whole chicken cooked over charcoal, man. It's just got a badass flavor. Carl?
Yeah, it'd be like steak as well. Maybe probably bone and ribeye as far as steak goes. But fun factor, I'm really enjoying
tomahawk or something.
Yeah, tomahawk's a
or a standing roast or an OP rib or whatever.
Yeah, the 3 and 4 bone, something like that. But for fun, whole hog, definitely. Loving the roasting box and playing around with cooking a whole pig. But you need a fair few people to feed if you.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to refine this discussion a little bit more, because I think it is interesting that we all chose steak. If you're cooking, just, I assume those answers. If you're cooking for the family, I assume those answers stand like, hey, cook us dinner. Okay, a chicken or a steak or whatever. If you were trying to impress someone with your barbecue skills, or let's say maybe it's not a barbecue, but let's say it's someone who is like maybe a chef or someone, or I don't know, someone you admired was coming over, and they knew a little bit about food and the competency involved in cooking good food. What would be your go-to if you're going to try and cook something to impress somebody? So we'll go with Carl first, but for me, I haven't even thought of these answers myself. Jeepers. You know, I've been cooking during COVID. I was playing around with like whole sirloins and whole Scotch and that kind of thing. And I'm not a big fan of sirloin because of the fat cap on it. But I'll tell you what, if you render it for 7 hours and still keep it medium rare, it's freaking hard to beat. It's hard to beat. So I think I'd cook a whole sirloin and I'd cook it all day, hanging, and I would just render that fat right off it. That would be me if I was trying to impress you, because you can't be like, all the girls love a big piece of meat, right? Carl.
So precious. I don't know.
Try to impress somebody.
Yeah, I don't know, but
surely it'd be whole hog.
Loving actually cooking lamb at the moment, and some of the obscure cuts of lamb as well. Been into Aussie Butcher a day or so ago and picked up some. He's offering up some different cuts as well. So he's got lamb scotches, but just some of that go-to easy stuff as well that you can't screw up, like lamb ribs. Like a really good lamb rib snack is
hard to beat, eh?
Yeah.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, but then if you can back that up with a few other cuts as well, a few racks, and it's just it's a tasty meat. And there's some great products out there now that just just pump up that flavour and stuff as well. There's some good rubs.
Now, in terms of your rack of lamb, are you cooking them hot and fast or low and slow?
Hot and fast.
That crispiness on them.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
get that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, get that crispiness through that fat. Get that that fat going through there, but also being able to render that some of the internal fat down as well. So
righto. So James, you've got the what do you guys call him? The Chancellor of Victoria coming over for dinner.
Yeah,
very popular fellow right now. What would you be cooking him for dinner?
Probably pork ribs, man. To be honest with you, I think a lot of people haven't had a good pork rib who haven't been in competition barbecue before, so they're easy to impress with. They don't take that long to cook, and if you start with a good product, then it's hard to beat a pork rib.
Nice. That's a great answer. Steve.
You got exactly what I was going to say, bro.
Got Jacinda coming over for dinner.
Oh, she's not welcome here, bro.
What would you be cooking?
Exactly what James said, bro. Ribs, a lot of people are used to the likes of Lone Star or somewhere that just boil them and smash sauce on them.
Shameful.
And then you give them something that's decent, that's got a bit of smoke flavour and a bit of a comp style glaze, and people just, first bite just like, wow, and that's definitely something that I'd push.
Cool, mate. That's a great answer too. Justin, GG.
Cool. Yeah, people coming over and I want to impress. I'm going to be honest. I would actually lay out a whole platter. Yeah.
What a show off.
Yeah.
Okay, so name the primary star of this platter, though. What's the key
Oh.
thing that the person really goes home and writes home about?
Well, it'd have to be brisket, right? That's
Briskies.
king of
He's going to
barbecue.
commit. He's going to commit a whole day to hosting Donald
Yeah,
Trump.
bloody hell. That's how I roll, man. got to host it right. Look, honestly, I'd probably wanted to go left field. I'd actually run a whole hog in Christine, a big offset, and there's something about doing a whole hog, cracking those ribs, laying her out. It's good fun, and it's just awesome. And it's inspiring, and people. It's just got a huge wow factor to it, I guess.
You know what I like about whole hog too is it helps people stay connected to what they're actually eating, and I think in a highly processed packaged world, you forget that that's actually a pig that you're eating, and it helps remind people that it's one, it's real meat, and two, just to like treat it with some respect. It's like an animal gave its not willingly, but gave its life for that dinner. And Grant Fitzgerald, what would your impress me meal be at your place?
Well, I had a tough crowd yesterday, actually. I had 15 10-year-olds running around here, so I had to do ribs for sure on a nice glaze. They were hard critics, but they were very happy when they left.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear you've been practicing, Grant. Now, what's your favourite? If let's say any one of us were hosting you for dinner, right? What would you like to eat? Because what you like cooking is different from what you like eating sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to say, hey, I'm going to cook, hey, I'm cooking your dinner, and I can cook anything pretty good, what would you like in terms of barbecue? What would you like to eat if you're going to come around for Sunday dinner or whatever? And we'll start with Grant Fitzgerald.
Oh, it'd have to be a brisket.
Brisky? Okay, well,
To
I'm
get
not
that
cooking a
right,
brisket for dinner.
it's impressive. Impressive.
Yeah, a nice brisky's hard, especially when you crack that thing open. Okay, Juzzy?
Who's cooking?
Well, let's just say I'm cooking dinner for you, which I'm not. I just want to clarify I'm not, nor will I ever. But let's say I'm cooking dinner. What would you like to eat rather than what would you like to cook?
It'd have to be pork ribs, mate. They're
pork ribs.
They're hooverable. Very
hooverable pork ribs, yeah. All right, cool. Steve?
Beef shorties, bro.
Beef shorties, yeah. Beef shorties are awesome, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay. James?
Got to go a double cheese smash burger, man.
Just keeping it dirty and simple, eh?
Can't beat it. You can't.
Yeah, I had some Wagyu burgers the other day, and I had a friend from high school come, and I'm like, hey, let's cook some burgers. And he was like, where did you get this mince? And I'm like, my sure Wagyu trim.
Yeah.
He's like, where can I buy it? And I said, that's the problem is you can't, bro. I mean, Jai literally had to smuggle that thing in. Carl, coming over for dinner, what am I cooking for you?
Yeah, I'd go beef short ribs as well, actually.
Jeepers, beef. Jeez, you guys are expensive friends. Damn it, man. That's going to cost $100 to have you for dinner.
How come short ribs cost more than brisket?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And you're paying for that bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We could go into that at another time when we've got Fitzy here who's like knowledgeable about all that. But we'll ask him. Maybe we'll do anyway. Moving right along. Okay. Heading into the comp side of things, guys. So put your competition hat on. What's your favourite category to cook at a sanctioned barbecue comp? So we'll start with Carl. And just for those, while you're thinking about it, Carl, just for those at home, the categories here in Australia and New Zealand that are sanctioned are basically chicken, which is usually anywhere from the bird, but usually a thigh or a drum, ribs, pork ribs, pork, which is usually the shoulder or the collar of the pig, and then beef, which is either brisket cheeks or ribs, but can just be brisket. So Carl, what would be your favourite category to cook?
Brisket, yeah.
Briskies? Okay.
Yeah, enjoy brisket.
James, favourite category to cook? Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention lamb actually is one down here for those listening.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of listeners from all over the world. We've got 53 listeners right now. what would be your go-to category? For me, it's lamb, right? I love cooking lamb. I love eating lamb. I just love the technical complexity of building a lamb box. So for me, lamb, cow brisket. What about for you, James?
Yeah, I mean, lamb is fun, and I do enjoy cooking lamb. But I've got to say that if you've got to choose one box, it's got to be brisket. Brisket's the one category that everyone wants to win. That's kind of the holy grail. So I think everyone puts it on a pedestal, and rightfully so. So for me, brisket.
Okay, Steve.
I think the one that I prefer cooking, and really pushing for that box, is going to be pork ribs.
Done very well at pork ribs since you started competing too, I might add.
Yeah.
Juzzy.
It's a tough one, actually. Honest, straight away my mind goes to brisket because it is king and absolutely love it. The respect that's put into actually prepping it from the start right through to the end is second to none. But at the same time, I actually enjoyed putting together a pork box with your 3 different cuts laying out, looking nice and pretty. So, yeah, I'm sitting on the fence on that one, pork and brisket.
Okay, cool. Grant? Now be careful, Grant, because we've got a comp next month, so you might end up doing we'll see.
I'd love to say brisket, but I'm compelled to say chicken.
Chicken.
Because I've got to get better at it.
Yes, Grant, you do have to get better.
So I'm going to get rid. That is my favourite, chicken.
Okay, so on that note of chicken, what's your favourite chicken cut there, Fitzy? As much as
wings,
we tend to cook
wings
thighs.
is just awesome. I
You
love
like wings?
eating wings. I can eat wings all bloody day. But again, I'm compelled to say chicken thighs or
you can say whatever you want.
Just mixing it up. It's all
Okay. Okay. Juzzy Dom?
It'd probably be thighs grilled with a bit of fajita rub on it. Love it.
Yeah, a good. I mean, I grew up and I didn't like thighs, but since maybe the last year, I've really come to enjoy thighs. So, and a grilled thigh, like where it's finished off on a hot plate or whatever, a hot griddle, not griddle, a hot grill like an SCA griddle or something, grill plate. That kicks ass with those. Yeah, that texture on it. Steve, favorite chicken cut to cook?
At home, bro, wings or chicken nibbles for the kids and things like that. But at comp, thighs definitely. But cool. I think my favorite chicken, chicken wings, thighs.
Nice. James?
Probably versatility is chicken thighs, but if I'm just eating at home, forget competition, then probably chicken ribs I really enjoy eating.
Yeah, but can you buy chicken ribs? I mean, you can even find them in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's like, for those who don't know, chicken ribs, one piece of rib, and it's like it's quite small.
Yeah,
and a lot of chickens have got to give their life. The ribs.
The chicken, man. If you haven't tried a chicken rib before, they're beautiful. They're really easy, and they're probably underrated. People don't cook them that much. They're still one of those things that people aren't really tapped into. So I don't know. Always trying to find something a bit different. I guess that's why it pushes me in that direction.
Yeah, nice. Carl, favorite chicken cut to mess around with?
And the wings and the nibbles part, but probably flappers is, for playing around with that and thighs. But flappers for I don't know, deep fry, barbecue, but fry, not fry.
Smoke fry. And what's your current, just think about your answer you just gave, Carl, heading back your way. What's your current favourite chicken rub that you're using? Now, I'm not talking about at comps or anything, just like if you're going to cook chicken at home or whatever, and you're going to recommend a rub to our listeners to say, hey, head in this direction because it's solid. What chicken rub would you recommend? Now, for me, the Executioner from Barbecue Superstore, awesome rub.
Yep. I've been using a combination of Meat Church Voodoo and some Oak Ridge chili lime.
Nice.
Okra chili one with a bit of sort of blend of that.
Sounds really good. James, favorite chicken rub? Go-to chicken rub?
Damn, I can't remember the name of it now. I do have one. I'd have to go to the cupboard and check it out. I do enjoy the Oak Ridge brine if I'm brining chicken. And yeah, damn, I can't remember the name of it. You've put me on the spot now. It's quite famous. We used it a couple of years ago, Juzzy, down at down on the water there on the creek in Warwick-Nabil.
This is
for SCA. Anyway, I'll have to get back to you.
I'm going to skip you.
You skip me.
That means Dirty Bird, do you?
Dirty Bird, yeah.
Dirty Bird. Now,
Dirty
who
Bird.
makes the Dirty Bird?
Cosmos.
Cosmos Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
Is that the real red one that they have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Steve, favorite chicken rub?
I quite like the rum and Q softcock, as well as the Sucklebuster's Clucker Dust. That shit's mean.
Okay, I've never tried the Clucker Dust, but I'll put that on my shopping list next time I'm at barbecues and all. Juzzy, you're great with profiles. What's your favorite Sucklebusters? What is that one?
Gator Cajun. It's Sucklebusters Gator's Cajun. That one and also their fajita one is like awesome. Absolutely awesome on those chicken thighs.
Mean.
Yeah.
What's the Sucklebusters one you just held up? Gator something.
Yeah, Gator's Cajun.
Oh, Cajun. Yeah, cool. My 2-year-old's convinced that rubs are just called Cajun. So he's like, has this got Cajun on it? And you're like, no, it's spicy. It's got Cajun. Fitzy, favorite chicken rub right now?
What I use a lot around here that goes through the household is one out of the States called Gringos, to be honest. And I use it a lot here in the house. It's just it's got a little bit of a bite to it. It's just a nice flavour.
Gringos. Okay. Fantastic. Let me just pull up my list of questions here, guys. Sorry.
You're just jotting down all of our answers, eh?
Yeah, I was just going to go try all this. Now, here's another quick question, and we're just, obviously we can't cover everything in this, but I was curious when I was writing my chicken list, how long do you cook chicken for at comps? Now, obviously, me and Fitzy's going to be, well, we've got a few funny stories, but obviously James and Juzzy's could be a similar answer. But just to give, because I suspect it's going to be a big range, I'll tell them the answer from QMU. We had our neighbour Brendan who writes up his run sheet, and we just tend to copy his and just ask him what time we should put chicken on. I lean over to Brendan and go, "Hey, what time's chicken going on?" And he goes, "Oh, it's already been on for about 40 minutes." And I'm like, "Ha, good one. Stop screwing with me. When is it going on?" He's like, no, it's been on for 40 minutes. Come and have a look. And I had messed up my times and thought that chicken was still a good hour away, but it was actually only 35 minutes away from Handon. So we cranked the gateway up to, I think it was like 500. And we cooked the chicken.
It was moving.
30 minutes. Chicken thighs in 30 minutes. And I think we come, was it 5th? 6th?
That's good.
So
nice.
It was a quick save. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you got your method and you got a hot appliance, you can cook chicken pretty quick and get a good result. But typically, Fitzy, how long do we allow for chicken at our team currently?
Oh, an hour and a half. I don't know.
Yeah. Juzzy, how long are you allowing for your chicken?
Traditionally, over all the years, it's been an hour, but rocking out a new method, which is a combination of two, looking up to about 2 hours now.
Okay, cool. So longer.
Yeah.
And when I started out barbecuing, I mean, it was all half an hour, 45 minutes sort of thing, almost grilling the thing. And then, you do your butter bath, all the rest of it to try and sort the skin out. But Lucas Armstrong got me doing the longer cook. So he's kind of, I don't know if he's known for it. He's certainly known by me as someone who cooks his chicken for a long time. So Steve, how long are you guys, or how long do you run your chicken?
From when it goes on smoke until it's in the box, it should be 90 to 100 minutes.
Okay, cool. How long in the pit approximately though?
From 45 to an hour.
Yeah, cool. James?
Yeah, probably about 45 minutes to cook it. And then by the time you sauce it, by the time you box it, you need another 15 minutes. So, hour all told. But just in the pit, 45 minutes.
Okay. Carl?
Yeah, we're usually chasing chicken all the time. We get it wrong every single time. But probably, yeah, I'd say an hour.
Okay, an hour.
We've always overshot and slept in or something.
So there's a big range there, guys, listening, from about 45 minutes all the way up to about an hour and a half to even knocking on the door of 2 hours. So, and obviously it depends wildly on the temperature you're cooking at.
Yeah.
Moving just into ribs, what's your favourite rib rub? If you had to recommend to a noob or someone listening, there are 53 people listening, what rub would you give them a shot at if you said, hey, what would be your go-to? For me, Jai put me onto this, and Juzzy, you might be able to help me remember the proper name for it, but it's, what is it, Chipotle something? The Elk Creek Chipotle
Elk Creek one?
honey Chipotle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
Honey
awesome rub. It's nice and subtle, but got great flavors and got that sweetness. So Chipotle honey from Elk Creek is my go-to for ribs right now. Fitzy, you cooked a lot of ribs yesterday.
Yeah, I blended them up a little bit, put a bit of everything on there first, based that, and then I put a bit of a chicken rub. I can't remember the name of it, sorry, but it's a sweet chickeny rubby type thing.
A random combination of rubs.
Yeah.
Juzzy.
I like our old school flavour back in the day. It was, which was hog roller with a top layer of pecan on top.
Just dropping comp secrets now.
Hey, I don't want to break the team up. I've tried those ribs, and hog wall is a great rub.
It is a great rub, yeah.
I'm personally not sold on the pecan, whatever.
Really?
Yeah, but that other one, there's another one. It's not because the Suckle Busters is a pecan, eh?
Yeah.
So there's another one that Lucas uses that's a pecan one. What's that? Seven Sins, is it?
Oh, yeah, 7 Sins, yeah.
So their pecan one doesn't have much pecan flavour in it, but it's got a lot of good flavour. And I actually like that one better than the Suckle Busters pecan. So,
Yeah.
So give Seven Sins a look, guys. Steve, without dropping any comp secrets, you can just maybe give us an indication of what your exact formula for cooking ribs is. I mean, your favourite rub for cooking. What's your go-to if you weren't cooking comp? Let's just say, recommending a rub.
Bro, go-to, and for I recommend this to anyone, bro, is Rib Rocker. Rowan Q's Rib Rocker is all-purpose, tastes good, not too hot, not too sweet.
Is this a paid advertisement? This is your second Rowan Q rub. Is there something that you need to
pay the bills?
Tell us all. Hey, you ever see invoice in the mail for those guys? There are 50 people being influenced right now.
Nah, but it's a solid base, bro, and especially for backyards, normal weekend cookers and everything else. I think that Rib Rocker product is solid. Really do.
Cool, James. And actually, all jokes aside, I have heard the same thing, even though I've never used it on a rack of ribs. But I've tried the rub, and it is a good rub, and good on you for recommending it. All right, James.
Yeah, I mean, I always use the pecan at home. So the pecan rub for me, it does happen to be Suckle Busters, but I kind of think that rib rubs are inherently sweet. So if you don't start with a salty flavor and a base to kind of even those out, then it doesn't really matter what rub you're putting on there. So we always start with an SPG or salt pepper of some kind, or an AP rub of some kind to get it going, to get to wake it all up. So otherwise, if you're just using one rub on its own, then yeah, it can be too sweet or too dull. If you're looking for one rub to make your ribs pop, then you're not looking in the right direction. You gotta have 2 or 3 rubs on there.
Actually, in saying that, I do find the hog wallah, because I used the hog wallah during my belly beat down, and I did finish up 4th. Out of a competition of 4, but there's a competition of 6, and I finished up 4th, greatly improved over last year. But I used hog wallah. Man, I was really surprised. It's not a sweet rub when you go to eat it out of a container. It doesn't taste so sweet. But I tell you, once you layer it up on that pork a couple of times, man, it's really, really sweet.
Yeah, it's probably one of the only pork rubs that does have a good amount of salt in it as well, and that's just probably that Texan sort of style. It probably is one of the only ones that can kind of stand alone. But yeah, you got to lay your rubs.
Mr. Carl Granger, would whoever you're talking to like to join? Would they like to?
I've locked my son out the side. He's trying to.
He's trying to get in the house. But you're outside, Carl. I mean, we can all see you're outside. What's your favourite AP rub? Sorry, your go-to rub for ribs?
Well, for cooking at home, like as far as competition goes, there's a lot that goes, like a lot of layering that goes through, and then with your sauces and stuff. So we're excluding all that stuff. So
Yeah, exclude all that. I mean, I'm just saying if you've got 52 of the 53 people listening who are just home cooks and they want to know what's a good rub to.
I like to just play around with getting a bit of heat on the bottom, and then a bit of sweetness coming through the top. So I'll use like a hotter rub on the bottom of the rib, and then run something a little not so hot on the top. Although I'm always a big fan of recruiting death dust just to really wipe a few people out. So I usually blend that through a bit of secret weapon or maybe Dominator.
Yes, secret weapon's a good one.
Product. Yeah.
Okay.
On that, and then what else? Well, actually, on ribs I've been cooking at home lately, I've been using Dan's pork rub as well.
Dan.
Yeah. So 4 monkeys.
Who's Dan's? Oh, yeah.
Dan Barrett.
Yeah, Dan Barrett's one. The 4 monkeys pork rub. Yeah, okay. Now, I'm always confused about Dan. Dan, if you're listening, you need to change your label colours because you've got blue on sheep and green on pork. Which colour's the pork rub?
Green, I think.
Yeah, see, this is confusing, Dan. I mean, it's green should be for lamb, surely.
Blue lamb, isn't it? Blue.
Yeah, blue's for lamb, and beef should be black naturally, and it's just come on.
Yeah, I think his beef is red from memory.
Yeah,
it's totally confusing, mate. You need to sort your labeling out, mate. I'm sorry, but you do. Okay.
The simple people in New Zealand can't handle it.
I'm colour coding, man. Right. Okay.
One word.
Okay. So one answer question: hang it or put it on a tray. Hang it or put it on a tray. Carl, hang it or put it on a tray.
Now I'm hanging.
Hang.
Yeah.
James, hang or flat on a dish?
Hang, man. Gotta hang.
Okay. Hang. Steve, rack or hang?
Tray.
Yeah, rack. Cool. Juzzy, hang it or rack it? Hang. Okay. Fitzy?
I'm on a rack.
Yeah, and I'm always going for quantity. So rack, you can only hang 1 or 2. You can't really hang 30 racks of ribs in a pit.
No.
So stuff you guys in your hanging. Okay, and then the last one for a rib is in 1 sentence. What's the key to a good rib? Now, for me, it's all 1 word: hooverability. Hooverability. Fitzy.
Yeah, good bite.
And a couple of good bite. Okay, Juzzy. Key to a good rib.
Same thing. Texture, mate.
Texture. Okay. Mr. Stephen.
Yeah, I'd say texture as well, bro. I would, yeah.
Okay, try and think of something original, guys. It's so important, eh? It is so important, texture. James and Carl, do you guys agree it's texture or?
Yeah, I mean texture up until a point. It's got to. You can't go over with a rib texture because if you go over, it's falling off the bone. In my opinion,
falling off the bone ribs.
No, I don't. It doesn't for competition anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, I do agree that you can actually have fall off the bone and they still eat well. But I don't know if you're looking for an original answer, then you can't really think about ribs without the right sauce. So
yeah, sauce. I mean, I do like a dry rib though. I'll eat a dry rib.
Yeah. If you're in Memphis and you're going for a dry rib, that's the way to go.
But you can't beat a good sauce on a rib I mean, I remember the first time I tried a Blues Hog rib. Fuck, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, Carl, what do you reckon?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
key to a good rib.
It's going to be texture because it's the way it presents to your palate. So that's the best way it's going to give you the taste on however you've presented your rib. It's got to be how you bite. You want to see the good bite through, obviously, as you bite it. But it's as far as the presentation goes, when you bite into it, if you get that perfect bite, it presents the flavors in the rib perfectly. Really, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask abroad for anyone who would like to question this: is bite through on a rib overrated? Meaning, I mean, it's not the end of the world if it falls off the bone, is it? I mean, when you're out and fall off the bone, then you would like have to gnaw it off the bone. Does anyone enjoy gnawing it off the bone? Yeah, I have met the odd person who actually enjoys that texture. But I mean, is overcooked ribs falling off the bone? Are they a bad? I mean, is that? I mean, you could do worse, right?
It's all good for at home, eh?
If you can't pick up the bone, and there's no meat on it because it's falling off.
Yeah. I mean, there's overcooked where it just slides off. Like, okay, you've just made mush.
One foul swoop.
If you went to bite it and then it all come with the bite, hey, I can push it in there.
I'm all about that, bro. That's all good
like
at home.
A big piece of pizza, you just sort of conveyor it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking competition, you'd rather your ribs be over than under. Put it that way.
Mm.
Okay, cool. I think that's a great way to move on to the next segment, which is pork. Favorite pork cut. Okay, and I'm talking about just anywhere on the pig, snout to tail. What's your favorite pork cut? For me, a pork chop, a loin chop. My missus has just perfected the art, and damn, Maro, I mean, creamy and cooked perfect and well flavored and just amazing. So, a loin chop would be my absolute favorite cut on pork, on a hog, on bacon, obviously. Fitzy.
Loin, definitely.
Loin, yeah. JG.
Belly.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Belly. Steve.
Yeah, bro. Crackled up belly.
Yeah. Crackle's hard to beat, eh? But see, my loin chop will have crackle on it anyway, so I've got the best of both. James.
Man, I do enjoy belly. I can't go past bacon. Whatever, bacon goes well with everything. So, if you talk, I know it's not a cut, but it's, if I had to choose, man, I'm going bacon every time.
It is a pig's superpower making bacon.
Yeah.
So. Carl.
Yeah, James beat me to it. I would say bacon.
Bacon, middle bacon. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, talking about comp cooking or just your opinion in general. Shoulder. Think about that Boston butt, which for our 53 listeners, it's the front of the pig, the front shoulder, right up until the neck, right up into that, almost into the jowl. Bone in or bone out? Fitzy, bone in or bone out? For
Bone in, definitely.
Bone in, okay.
Definitely.
Does he?
Bone in, bro.
Okay. Steve?
Bone in, 100%.
James?
Bone in.
Carl?
I don't know. I've just been watching Brad and Tim's barbecue league video, and I'd say bone out now.
Carl, if you've got a membership to their subscription thing, you and I need to stay on afterwards. Now, but hold on. I want to go back around and ask, in terms of a comp scenario, do you cook with a bone in? Okay, for that pork box. Fitzy, I know you don't, because we cook collars.
Mm-hmm.
Juzzy Don.
Now you're just hunting for secrets.
Okay. No, because my suspicion is none of us cook with the bone in.
No.
Steve, are you guys cooking with a bone in for comps?
I've actually just changed to running collars as of last comp.
And almost everyone I know is running collars, but yeah, I mean, even if you watch like the Cosmos video, they removed the bone, so you got to fit more real estate. James, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, obviously, where we were bone in as well. I guess it depends how much you want to cook, but we start looking at how much of that pork butt are you actually going to be using in the box, and 9 times out of 10 you're only using a certain specific part of it. You're not using the horn, the dry pieces, so it just makes more sense to kind of cut that part out.
Yeah, it's funny because we all say cook with a bone in, but none of us put any of the horn in our boxes probably. So it's like, You know, come on. Carl, are you guys cooking scotchies or are you guys cooking whole butts or?
Collars.
Yeah, we're all cooking collars. Yeah, so interesting. Yet if I was to cook at home, it would be a bone in because you get. I mean, I guess at a comp you're only looking for the creme de la creme of the pork shoulder, whereas when you're cooking at home, you've got to eat that whole shoulder anyway. Like your kids have got to eat something. So they can't all eat the money muscle.
That's yours.
Yeah, it's been taken. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, favorite rub for pork, is it different from pork ribs? Going to Carl.
Yeah,
I like a sweeter rub on my pork shoulder or my bigger pork products. And the reason being that I like to cook them hot and fast and get a bit of burnage on the pork shoulder. I don't like any burnage on the ribs because it's unavoidable when you go to, you cut a rib, you're not like trimming any exterior texture off it. Whereas on a pork shoulder, because you're dealing with a lot of internal meat, I like a little bit of burnage on the outside, a bit of texture. And therefore I also like a lot of sweetness to it. So I don't mind a bit of sugar in it. And that hog wallah one's a good one for that. There's some other good ones. I do like that hog wallah one on my pork shoulders. Get a bit of caramelization. So going to Grant Fitzgerald. Have you got a preference on the pork shoulder for rubs?
Not really. Look, at the end of the day, it's very similar as being, you're going to render that bigger piece of meat down fairly heavily. So you want to get some heat into it. So as long as it's got a nice heat and sweet about it, that's what I'm chasing.
Juzzy Dom?
Definitely looking at layering those flavour profiles. I'd still stick to where I can, similar to the pork ribs. I've got the hog wallah with pecan, but I'll definitely bring in the heat. Normally I'll use the Suckerbusters BAM, which adds a bit of raw heat to it as well. But in saying that, Dan's pork rub, Four Monkeys pork rub, is actually really well balanced.
Now, what colour was that one?
Blue. No, green. Green.
Yeah, and
No,
just
really well balanced.
Yeah, I mean, and out the shaker, it tastes quite hot, but once you cook it down and have it, it actually balances really well towards the end once it's cooked.
Good on pork chop too, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, now I know a lot of my listeners and that Kiwi listeners, we shy away from the heat sometimes. We're a very bland profile here in New Zealand.
Yeah, I remember.
But I just want to really attest to that. Like, I don't like spicy food. Well, it's not that I don't like it, but my digestive tract doesn't. And I found, you can go quite spicy out of the container, but by the time you cook it into the meat and add the moisture and some of it drips off and blah, 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 it can be really mild. So don't be afraid to try some of those ones that are inherently more spicy up front because it will reduce down a little bit. Stephen Cook.
Yeah, bro. Same with again. I layer every time, bro, with SPG or an all-purpose down first, and then it would depend on what mood I'm in and what's in the shelf. I'll put different beef, chicken sorts of rubs on everything. But yeah, just recently, bro, I've been running a couple of different Heavenly Hell products, and I grabbed the Four Monkeys pork as well, bro, which is, like the boys are saying, bro, really good. Hot out of the packet, but super different after 6 hours cooking.
Yeah, nice. James?
Probably the hog wallah for me. Sucklebusters hog wallah. It's got. I haven't tasted anything else like it. It's got quite a unique flavour. There's a few different profiles going on there. It doesn't need too much, apart from a bit of SPG for some layerage, and then something with a bit of kick behind it on top of that, and you go from there. And then you got to layer it up as well once you've actually pulled the pork butt, because of course there's all that internal meat that doesn't have any rub. So you got to kind of get that in there once you've pulled it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Carl, pork rub?
Probably, similar to my to rib rub, as far as bit of secret weapon and habanero death dust, just for a bit of heat that goes through there. Definitely now that with a bit of Four Monkeys in that mix. And I mean, when you get to the wrap and stuff as well, you should maybe start looking at throwing a bit of butter on there and a little bit of sugar just to add a little bit of sweetness.
Don't give away too many secrets, Carl. We'll get in trouble with Anatole. One that I really like on pork too is Ozark Heat by Al Butts of Smoking. That has to be one of my favourite rubs on pork, particularly when the missus is cooking pork chops. Boom, put some of that on there. Freaking good stuff. Ozark Heat. You can get that from Barbecues and More, guys. Now, last question in the pork category. Naked or crutch? You like to cook it naked, or you like to cook it with a Texas crutch? I'm cook it naked. I'm like, yeah, you can put all that stuff in there once you wrap it to put in the cooler to rest. But I like to just cook it and, like I said, build up as much of that texture on the outside as I can, because you're dealing with such a big piece of meat. By the time you pull it, you only get a teeny bit of texture. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Naked.
Naked.
Definitely.
Always. Does he, Don?
Probably cook it to colour and then give it a wrap and then open up again a little bit later.
Cool. Steve?
Yeah, same as that, bro. So a good sort of 4 hours, nice colour, then wrap it up.
Okay. James?
I got to go a wrap because I want to catch all those juices that I want to put through later on. So if you're going naked, you don't get that opportunity. So for that reason, go a wrap and just let it cook a little bit longer before the wrap.
Okay, cool. Carl?
Wrap as well.
Yeah.
I gave it away earlier, probably, but
Yeah, you did, but that's all right. Just confirming. Yeah, we always wrapped and all that, but I just what I find, I guess, particularly in the hot and fast thing, is sort of 4 or 5 hours. I'm freaking done and dusted almost. So like if you are gonna wrap, you end up losing a lot of flavour because you're cooking so hot and fast. You don't get that exposure that I think pork really lends itself to, being so fatty. And in terms of catching drippings, if you've got an octo pit, you just put your dripping pan on the shelf below and you'll catch all that goodness. And you get a bit of banana and rub it in there. It's good stuff. Moving into the beef category. Now, we all talked about how we love steaks, and everyone's a victim of the Scotch fillet, and that's fine. Can I ask, what's your preferred? If you had to just live off one for the rest of your life, would it be steak or secondary?
secondary.
Briskets, cheeks, secondary cuts. So, Carl.
I'd live on steaks, to be fair.
James?
Yeah, I'm on steaks too, man.
Okay. Steve?
Well, if I've got to live on it for the rest of my life, obviously I'm going to have more versatility and options with some, range of different stuff. But I love steak and shit, but if I've got one option, bro, then I want to be able to change it up, hey?
Okay, so your secondaries?
Yeah, it's a weird question.
I didn't say it had to be Scotch fillet steak. I mean, there's a bunch of steak in that animal. There's tenderloin, there's Scotchies, there's rump, there's skirt.
Yeah, true that.
Chuck. Okay. Juzzy Don?
Mate, for the rest of my life, I ain't cooking a brisket every single day, so I'm going steak.
Hey, you can mince up brisket and make smashies, though.
Yeah, it's true.
You're going to steak to swear, bro. Mr. Fitzgerald?
There's so many different usage. You've got to use secondaries all the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
steak. I'm steak.
There's individual muscles all through the animal that are as tender and as good tasting as others.
Yeah, but if they're tender, they're steaks. So
well, the most tender pieces is a Taurus major, which is in the middle of a clod, and looks like a tenderloin.
Off, bro. We'll be into it. Okay, favorite beef cut then. Take anywhere from the snout to the tail. Favorite beef cut. For me is probably, picanha. You can't beat it, right?
Mm.
Okay. Fitzy?
Most favorite cut?
Favorite beef. Just beef, anywhere on the beef animal.
I'm a strip loin.
Yeah, you are a strip guy. He is a stripper. JG?
I'd probably say the point muscle on a brisket.
It's good, eh? Points.
Yeah, it's damn good.
I won't even eat flat now. Steve?
Short rib, bro.
Yeah,
Definitely.
consistent. James,
Yeah, I do enjoy a short rib.
Carl,
I don't know. Yeah, I'd say short rib as well. To be fair, yeah.
okay. So, is brisket overrated?
Yeah.
That's come up. That's come up on the groups, all of the groups. Is brisket overrated? Carl, is it overrated?
No.
James,
No way. Only if you're buying brisket from Countdown or Woolworths or something. You know, if you're buying a good brisket and you're cooking it properly, you can't beat it. There's just no way. So no, it's definitely not overrated, man.
if you're
Especially
buying a brisket slider from the coffee club, who are now doing brisket sliders,
yeah, I mean,
probably
especially
overrated. But
like Juzzy said, especially from the point if you get that fat seam right in the center where you're getting a little bit of, you're getting a little bit of both muscles. That's hard to beat. Hard to beat.
yeah, a good burnt end too. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Steve, is brisket overrated?
I'd only be able to answer that depending on who was cooking it, bro.
Yeah.
But generally,
Nah, I don't think so, man. I really enjoy brisket. I can cook it well, so it's not fucked, and I'm happy with that.
I just had to make this now child unfriendly. On YouTube, you've got to say, does it include any swearing?
You got to bleep it. You got to bleep it out. You're good.
Yeah, right. Juzzy Don?
Oh man, no chance. It's not overrated. As long as it's cooked to how it should be and shown respect, mate, it's a winner.
Fitzy?
Good piece of meat.
Yeah.
Not overrated at all.
Piece of meat. Okay. We all tend to agree with that. Okay, and then last in the beef questions is favourite beef rub. What is your favourite beef rub? And for me, I mean, that's a tough one. Probably, honestly, just probably a really coarse SPG, like not too powdery.
Yeah.
Just a really good coarse SPG and just slather that thing. Really just give it heaps. Carl, favourite beef rub? Actually, no. I'm going to retract my answer. I love Montreal steak seasoning.
Oh, yeah. Angus and oil.
Lot of pepper in it, and just put it everywhere. And it's nice and coarse, so you get that flavour that delivers for a little, a few seconds after you take a bite. So yeah, just Montreal steak seasoning, Grill Mates. You can buy it in a 1 pound thing. It's great.
No, but that's Angus and oil, is it?
No, it's Grill Mates, Grill Grates. Whatever.
Yeah, you can get it from Costco.
It's Costco. It's like the most. Have you got it there, Justin Don?
Which one? No, I haven't got the Montreal, man.
Okay, well, it's Grill Mates. It's an American, just like Grill Mates.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. I have got. Yeah, it's confused me. I've got the Angus and Montreal rub, and go on.
He's cracked it. He can't believe he can't believe you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Carl.
He's picked it up.
Look at that flavour in there, boys.
And turn it around so he can see the sticker.
That's the sticker, and you just buy. I buy that at Costco when I'm in Aussie. McCormick.
Yeah.
That's it right there, and I love it because it's got a lot of pepper in it.
Yeah, it's quite coarse.
About 3 or 4 different types of pepper, and and the whole family can eat it. It's not too polarizing.
How many beers was this going for?
7.
7. How many
you had?
What am I to? 6. So
yeah, we're almost.
Yeah, any of those SPG rubs. I've been playing around with lots of bits and pieces of late. I've always run Oak Ridge combinations as far as even Black Ops from the Black Ops rub, the Santa Maria grill from those guys. I've started looking at some other basically SPG rubs coming out of like Fergalicious and Elk Creek beef. Oh, what's it called? Beef.
AP.
No, there's the beef shake.
Beef shake. been using that quite a bit lately and really enjoy that.
Now, that's not the black one, eh?
No.
No, it's
Yeah,
okay.
because I got a shaker of the black one that I need to get a refund on. It's not very good.
Yeah. Too fine.
But the beef shake one is awesome. Yeah.
And Oak Ridge, Spogos, yeah, any of those SPGs, basic like salt and pepper goes perfectly with beef. So
Okay, James.
Yeah, I'm probably SPG just for simplicity as well. It's where you start. I don't like playing with too much flavor when I'm cooking at home. And the SPG the Suckle Busters one does anyway. He'll put multiple different courses of pepper and salt in it, so you get some texture, but you get some fineness as well. And we kind of learned that when we're down there meeting Dan. But or if I'm wanting a bit of color as well, Schmitty's What's Your Beef is really good too.
Okay. Steve, favorite beef?
Yeah, bro. So I've been running what Carl was saying, the Fergalicious SPG Love. It's just got a nice lemony sort of flavour to it as well, which just adds a little bit of depth. Not going back just for sponsorship, but the Bulldog, bro. Like I really like the Bulldog. It's nice and chunky.
Let's send an invoice out after this.
Yeah.
Nah, no shit though. It's nice and big. It's got heavy flavours. I really like it. And then there's one from Heavenly Hell, the Grilled, the Smoked, and the Lovely.
I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, bro, which is mean. And then like things like there's it's like the pistol powder or gunpowder or whatever it is for like a black rub.
Yeah, the gunpowder one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really depends on how I'm feeling in that, but bro, just combinations of shit as well.
Trev's famous mix all leftover beef rubs together and put that on. Yep. Juzzy Don, what's your go-to beef rub?
Normally be multiple layers again, but traditionally over the years it'd be SPG. But in saying that, when we went to the States last year, Dan Arnold took us to a little place called 407 Barbecue, and their brisket was unreal. So I ended up bringing back some of this, which is their 407 Barbecue. If you can see in there, it's got some coarseness and it's got good colour to it, and the flavour's unreal. I love it. So I've been punching that out on briskets lately.
Nice. Mr. Fitzgerald.
SPG, start there, build from there, build other flavours on how I feel that day, really.
SPG is great. Now, MSG, in terms of generally cooking, what's your opinion on MSG, Carl?
It's in most almost anything. It's natural and it's unnatural.
But are you a yay or a nay?
I'm not going to add it on purpose, to be fair. Like I'm not going to get.
So you don't have a 5 kilo baggie in your garage.
Don't ask me that question.
James, SPG, yay or nay? MSG, yay or nay?
MSG, yes. So we don't. Yes, the answer.
I'm not talking just comp. I'm just saying as a general attitude towards MSG.
I think if you asked anyone 5 or 6 years ago, the attitude would be hell no. But I think there's a resurgence of it, and once everyone understands the reasons, like how it's derived, that it's a natural product coming from kelp, and that that a little bit is fine. It's like anything; if you add too much, some people are going to get unwell, or they're going to have a natural reaction to it, just like nuts, for example. So we don't ban nuts. So I'm actually fine with MSG. I have no issues with it. I think it enhances the flavor. Josh's umami rub is really good too. So you should check that out.
Steve, MSG, yay or nay?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I see no problem with it. It gets a bad rap, in my opinion, eh?
Yeah.
You'd have to quit eating Chinese food if you didn't like it.
Exactly, bro.
Jazadon, yay or nay to MSG?
Now, I've got no issues with it. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy a couple of bags and throw some in on top. But if it's already in a rub that we already use or I use at home, it doesn't bother me one bit, man.
Cool. Fitzy G.
Yeah, I'm for it. It's all good. Within reason. So you don't get buggy eyes.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
It's all good.
Okay, we've got 3 questions left, guys. And they're probably the most important questions. I want to know, what one tip would you give a brand new barbecuer who is just maybe starting out? Maybe they've just bought themselves a barbecue or one of the, whatever, and they're just getting into it, and they're all optimistic, and they're reading up, and they've stumbled across this video and managed to make it through the last hour and a half. What number one tip would you give a beginner barbecue? And we'll start with, let's start with Grant Fitzgerald.
Learn your barbecue.
So learn the pit, learn
your pit. Understand your pit, where it's hot, cold, warm. Just understand it.
How long does it take to get hot?
Oh, yeah.
How long does it take to cool down? I mean, I cooked on a Santa grill last night, and I cooked all my meat and then come back an hour later, and it was really optimal temperature. I mean, it was still cranking, and I really wished I had lit it an hour earlier. Got way more uniform flavour and all that. Jazzy Dom, what would be the number one tip for a new beginner barbecue?
Either do your research or ask a seasoned barbecuer. Don't be afraid to ask a question, because there's plenty of knowledge out there, and like all of us, we're willing to help any new barbecuer out, because it's about growing the scene and helping each other out.
Yeah, cool. It's true that. Stephen Cook, you went there so long ago yourself. What number one tip would you give guys starting out?
Probably set up a separate bank account, just so you can keep funds away from the missus.
Siphon funds.
Legit. I mean, it is an expensive hobby, but legit. I'd probably just say don't panic. I think my first handful of cooks, the temperature was fluctuating from where I really wanted it to be, and I'd freak out. It's just like, just chill out. If it moves 20, 30, 40 degrees, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, just relax. Just let it do its thing.
Cool, man. James, tip for a brand new beginner.
Don't be afraid to spend some good money on a good product. So start with a good product. That's where there's no point in trying to polish a turd. So I've been there where you cheap out on the money on the product to begin with, and you spend 8 hours cooking a brisket and it doesn't turn out, and you think there's something wrong with how you've done it. And often it's just that you didn't start with the right product. So if you're gonna, and it's not cheap to start with a good product. So you might start with something like a chicken and then move to pork. And then beef might be your last one, because you understand that fire management is important as well. But once you've able to sort of practice on the cheaper cuts, then then work your way up. But always go for a middle of the road or product, and you don't have to spend heaps of money. You don't have to be buying a full blood brisket every single time. But just spend the extra couple of dollars per kilo to start with a good product, and you'll find that it'll be you'll have a better experience.
And I'd echo, just to underscore what James said, don't start with brisket. Start with something easy, chicken or pork or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to have plenty of time to screw up a brisket. Just maybe screw up some of the $5.99 a kilo stuff first.
Yeah.
Carl, number one tip for a beginner.
Yeah, just use everything that's available to you, as far as like join up in these pages, the Barbecue Alliance page. I don't know what's in Australia now, because there's like multiple pages that are running over there. But ask the questions, and everyone's keen as to help and give you advice, because you'll learn a lot from the advice that these guys are going to. We're willing to give you, and everyone on the page that's, hopefully is willing to give you, because that's probably that's going to save you a lot of mistakes in the short term. But I guess don't be afraid to screw up something to carry on with something. You're always going to learn something on barbecue, and just take those lessons, and don't be afraid to ask questions. We're all keen to give you a hand, and
use the search tool. Before you ask a question.
YouTube has changed a lot too. So back when we started, you could get very little information, but now you can even follow the right people on YouTube and get some really good information. Chef Tom's a really good place to start. How to Barbecue Right's another really good.
Chef Tom's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. How to Barbecue Right is another good barbecue page, and they're dropping bombs every day. So, get into your YouTube.
And for those in New Zealand, Australia, there's some local guys putting up content. There's, like we've got Mile Marker Media who are putting up great how-to videos. We've got lots of little guides. Brennan, the Smoking Meat House, has got a little channel. Some other ones, I don't know.
I'm about to start putting up some more content as well.
JG, how to use your plate, JG, and stuff.
Yep.
It's great. Okay, and then I even heard More Better's putting up a few guides on how to cook lamb. So everybody's doing it post-COVID.
Hopefully you can teach us a thing or two.
Well, perfect scores and whatnot. Okay.
Mint jelly's a secret, I hear.
Two questions left. What is your number one tip for a guy who's competent cooking but is wanting to compete? He's thinking about, hey, I'd really like to compete. Or he's just started competing and he's like maybe going to get his big toe wet or whatever. Carl's gone off to get a beer.
Oh, sorry.
Number one tip for a
He's had 6 beers.
A brand new competitor. So, Fitzy.
Number one tip.
I'll give you a second to think because I've got mine, which is don't expect to win everything the minute you show up. You ain't going to win nothing if any of us showing up to the same comp. It's taken years for us to hone our skills, and the likelihood that you're going to wing it on your first comp is very, very low. So you should just go there to just try and work out your timings and challenge yourself, and don't expect to be getting walks. Now, a few of us in this group, particularly one Stephen Cook, has had some early success, but that's not the typical norm, right? It's normally you go through a bit of a phase of just trying to work out which way's up, and you might miss a hand in. So just, go with the right expectations. Fitzy.
Get out there, practice, experiment, listen, and just keep practicing. It's a process. You got to work out the process, and then you got to work out your flavors, and then you go from there.
Okay, Jazzy Don.
I'm going to say
brand new competitor.
I'm going to say be consistent, but I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit. What I mean by that is when you do get your results back from a judge or judges, don't treat that as gospel, because obviously there's different palates and they may have got a certain area of the product that you didn't realize was in there. Stay consistent and true to yourself. Keep punching out the same product. If you find that you're consistently getting bad results, obviously change. But for us, when we first started with John and I and a couple of other boys, we were sort of changing what we were doing off certain results. And yeah, there'd be hits and misses. But once we started to focus and stay consistent with our products we're using, that's when we really started to excel and could see where we need to do minor tweaks here and there. So hot tip, stay consistent.
Cool. Steve.
Practice, bro. Practice makes progress. So if you just keep doing it, keep dialing it, tweaking it, just keep cooking, do more.
James.
I'll give you the advice that was given to me from Tony at the Beat in the Barbecue, and that's become a judge first. So at least judge one competition, understand what people are putting in the box, understand presentation, understand flavors, understand what the highest expectation is, and then you need to work your way back from there and reverse engineer it.
Great tip.
Yeah.
Oh, number one tip for a brand new competitor or someone heading into the competition.
I'd have to agree as far as judge. Go through the judging process and look at what you'll experience what other people are handing in, and you'll have get an idea of what's being presented.
Yeah.
It's going to give you a massive insight into what's expected, what everyone else is doing, and where you're at. But then also cook, and take notes. Dial in your process, and just base it on consistency. So
great advice, guys. And the last question is part of the series of questions is what tip, now all of you guys have got walks in some category or all categories, what tip would you give to a mid-packer team wanting to excel in either a category or in their overall ranking? What tip would you give to those mid-packers who are trying desperately to get into the top but can't kind of work out where they're going wrong? And we'll start with Fitzy because I don't have an answer. I mean, stay positive, obviously. Okay, here's my number one tip is learn from people who are better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't learn something from someone who can't cook better than you. Obviously, you're going to learn a certain amount by practicing yourself, but, you know, pursue people who are better than you. And that way they've got something to actually teach you. That would be my advice. Fitzy.
Listen to what people are doing. Practice. And just make those subtle changes, flavors, listen to what people have said, make notes, and then practice. That's about all you can do.
Okay. Jazzy Don, advice for mid-packers.
Similar line to yourself there, Jared. Because we experienced that ourselves. And what we found was do classes. Like, you know, Tuffy, Mo, what you're going to learn, like, it's either going to do a couple of things. You might see what they're doing and it's going to confirm what you're already doing, or you're going to pick up little tips and tricks in here, there. And we've certainly picked up little tips at each class we've done, and obviously made us feel better about what we've been doing. So if you can get to classes with more, as Jared said, more experienced pitmasters, go for it. Jump into it, do it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've done quite a few classes and you always walk away with like a couple of breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And when you get those breakthroughs and implement them, you're like, oh man, that's how you get it freaking done, right?
That's it.
And the thing is the thing is, you know, like I can't give you advice because I don't know your process.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a class sharing my process, there might be one or two things you learn where you go, that's a better way of doing it than what we have been doing.
We've done. Yeah.
But if you come to me and say, hey, give me some tips, I don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to give advice. So do some classes and that way you can get exposed to cooks that are better than you. Presumably if they're doing a class and you're there, they're better than you. And if I had to pick one class, and maybe the boys will agree, Brad and Tim's class, and Carl, you might have done it now too. That's one of the best classes I've ever done.
Yeah.
Just
especially moving to hot and fast like everyone is.
Freaking elevating, you know. Like Tuffy really help us find our rhythm and Mo, but going to Brad's really helped us get that up the level up. Beast mode. Okay, Steve, are we up to you, Steve?
Yeah, I think so, bro. I don't think I could offer really sound advice without being able to analyze their scoring and have a better understanding of what you're doing. However, if you're not really excelling in any sort of anything specific, you need to break down your scores. You need to look at, is it the texture that you're not scoring well? If that's the case, you need to look at adjusting your process. And if it's the taste, then obviously you need to look at your rubs and glazes. Or just spin it up, go left field, do something out of the world, push boundaries, try something new. If you're doing the same thing and you're always towards the back of the pack, you got to spin it up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. And that's one of the skills of a barbecue, is knowing when to pull the plug on it.
That's it, man.
You know, really knowing where you're going wrong is a massive part of improving. And a lot of guys who are mid-packers, and I've been there, believe me, we don't know where we're making mistakes until we actually get exposed to, oh, fuck, I didn't know that you do that. And I've always done it this way. And now I just realized that the ribs are supposed to go meat side down in the mop, you know? You didn't know that you were doing it upside down the whole time, right? Yeah. James, number one pick for a mid-packer team wanting to do better.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 5 or 6 teams in Australia that we're really tight with, and we'll always share our protein with them after each one. And we've got an understanding that honesty and just be brutal and be honest with each other, and I'll be honest and brutal with your protein back. And then that way you not only do you get to try their product and you understand what hits, but then you are getting feedback from someone who potentially is doing better than you, depending on which teams you have this pact with. So I think I learn a lot by understanding people's different, and then that gives you then an opportunity to ask questions about their process or about their rub or things like that. So get close with the other teams. Don't be afraid to hear the raw criticism. There'll be a lot of people that will try to be pleasant and nice to you. Say, oh yeah, that's good, when really they're not thinking that. But if you've just got an understanding that, hey, brutal honesty is the only thing that's going to push me forward, and I'll be the same for you, then I think you're then on a good wicket, and you're starting to move forward to a point where you can better your product, your final product.
Awesome advice, Carl.
I'd have to agree. Like early on when we started out, in heaps. Just we jumped to Tasman, went across to Australia, and got amongst the judging process there, and to see, okay, what are they doing in Australia that we're not doing here in New Zealand? But it's different now. That I think New Zealand's evolved quite a lot since then, and there's some great cooking here locally that now you're basing yourself against, as far as, well, where do you sit and what's your judging profile around that. But just if you get the opportunity, most people, well, everyone now is keen to share information. There's no walls up. The guys are pretty open in what we're doing, and like to share the information. We want to grow the and get amongst it. But there's also heaps of resources now online, and yeah, if you've got classes and get the opportunity to do class basically online and that stuff, and asking the questions, and most people will answer and go, hey. And when I started out, I went from like that level of progression at the start to we get just like, man, that there's a lot of things that bang, you can just do this and this, and progress your barbecue like in a big way early on. Now everyone's sort of starting at a higher level, and it's just those little tweaks and bits and pieces that you want to do. But if you're coming in fresh and coming in bland, the guys are more than willing to share information with this. Yeah. So
guys, well, that's all good advice. The other advice I'd say is don't quit, don't give up, man. You're going to get there. Just keep going, man.
Yeah.
Take it on the chin. The other thing is, if you don't like eating it, probably the judge won't like eating it. So never turn anything that you think, someone says it's really good, but you're like, yeah, I don't think it's that good. I mean, turn it in, still get some scores, but if you don't like it, it's probably not that good. Even if you, if it's not, I mean, it doesn't have to be your favorite barbecue going in the box, but if you don't like it, genuinely don't think it's that very good, then you're going to find a judge there, Judge 5 maybe, who doesn't like it either. So
we're our own worst critics, right?
Yeah, we're right. I mean, I remember in the early days I was tuning in chicken that I didn't particularly like, and we worked hard on chicken the last 12 months, and now I really enjoy our chicken.
Yeah. And
our scores reflect that now, because we do pretty well at chicken. So, depending on if he's on point or not. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge about barbecue today. And for those listening, if you could give us a thumbs up and write a comment to whoever you felt gave the best tip, and give us a subscribe, or don't really care if you don't. Maybe that's why we've only got 53 followers. But hey, if you made it this far, congratulations. And thanks to all the guys who have put in some tremendous knowledge and willingly shared that. And I didn't mention that this was an unpaid podcast. Sorry, guys. Bye.